faces in this neighborhood.
That's
But
okay.
anyway, go ahead.
No, we're just talking about what this whole year is going to be a huge journey, and this is what we're going to plan on covering. And this could change. We can, you guys, this is your class too. So anytime suggestions, you guys have ideas that you want to cover that maybe that aren't on here, we will cover. But this is the idea. This is the basic outline. So today we're going to be talking about what our tools are going to be and planning our garden. A little bit of technical back end things today. February is going to be what to plant in February, the cool weather plants. Uh, March will be seed starting and how to buy plants, how to choose a plant. That's going to be fun. March will cover how to change our garden over because we're going to be changing our garden over from cool to warm plants. So we'll talk about that. 5 more on composting and succession planting. Um, the next month we'll do organic pest management, and that's going to be important. We don't really have a lot of pests here, but sometimes we do. So we can talk about how to deal with that without having to do chemicals or anything like that. The next month will be harvesting, how to harvest. And actually, we'll be talking about that as we go along, but that will be, but there'll be a lot of harvesting going on that month, so we can talk about it in more detail. The next one is it's August, so we want to talk about keeping our plants safe. This is where gardening in the desert is so different than a lot of other places. Now, it is possible. Sometimes we're going to have some failures. Sometimes we will have things burning up, but we're going to try to prevent that and be very and talk a lot about that, how to prevent that. The next month, this is really good. We're going to be adding pollinator plants to the garden. We have native plants here and we have pollinator plants, and they sort of overlap. Native plants are plants that just grow super easy here. They don't need a lot of water and they're fun to learn about. And they're not as quite as pretty, but the pollinator plants are actual plants that really do send in the pollinators. They bring in the bees. They're beautiful plants, and we want to add them into our garden so that we can keep pollinating everything in the garden. And the next month, we're going to be talking about changing out again our garden from our warm weather, hot weather plants into the cool weather plants. 11, that's November, we're going to plant garlic. And there's a lot to learn about that. So we're going to be doing a whole class on that. And then December, we're going to celebrate our year of gardening and how to keep it going for the next year. So that's the plan for the year. I hope you guys are. Oh, there's tons of bonuses, you guys. I have so many other things I want to. Gardening is it's like opening a can of worms because there's so much to learn and you just can't teach it all in a week or 6 weeks. So believe me, we're going to have a lot of extra things, but I have a lot of extra fun surprises that you'll have to stay tuned for that we're going to learn about. Let's see here. How do I do this? I'm trying to, there, I don't know what I just did to turn the page, but it turned it. Let's see. Do we want to put these down here? We can put these down lower. There we go. There. One more thing. Okay, there. So the first thing first. Now, Julie, you might be pretty much up on this, but I think it's always good to have a review. Let's see. Oops. There we go. Wait, where are we going? The first thing, the most important thing to learn when you first start a garden is where we're going to put the garden, where we're going to set it up. And that means, let's see if I'm trying to move this down. We definitely need a sunny spot in the garden. We need if we can, south facing. If you don't know what south facing is, just get your compass out of your phone, and you can stand out there with the south facing. But here's the thing: you can have a south facing garden, but you can have a big wall in the way or a tree in the way. So we have to be aware of obstacles in our garden. Julie's been amazing. She literally has moved trees to get to the garden of her dreams. She has moved trees. That's what you have to do sometimes because we need 6 to 8 hours of sun to have a flourishing garden. We want it to make sure it's convenient to your kitchen because you're going to be going in and out all the time. So you want to think about where it's going to be. And the final thing is somehow be near a water source. Now, that means that If you can have a hose nearby, that's important because we want to hand water sometimes. Like right now, it's only once a week allowed to garden. And while we actually are going to be planting seeds and little tiny seedlings and little plants, and we have to be able to keep them moist. If our soil dries out, when we've planted a new seed, the seed will not germinate. So we have to really make sure that we're hand watering in between the days that it's that we are allowed to water. So I'm going to be giving you guys a worksheet after every class. Tomorrow, you're going to get the replay, and I'm going to have some handouts for you to work on for the next 2 weeks. Now, this is your class. I don't want to make it where I'm the mean teacher. So I want it to be what you want, but I actually also want to give you work because if you have work to do, then you'll do it. I want to be your accountability partner. And I want to make sure that you're feeling that you're able to get things done that that you want to achieve what you want to achieve. So I'm going to try to push you. If you don't have your work done, I'm not going to spank you, but I am going to give you some accountability for everything. So I have a list that's going to be in the worksheet, a full list of tools, but here's just a few things that I want to make sure you have. Julie, do you have a tool bag yet to put everything in? See, that's important. When we get ready to go out in the garden, we want to have all our things gathered together in one spot. You can use a bucket, you can use a bag, whatever you want. It doesn't have to be formal, but you want to have all these things ready to go in your bag in case you need it. So, of course, a trowel, which is your shovel. Of course, some clippers. Now, here's one that people don't remember: scissors. You got to have a pair of really good, like just a pair of kitchen scissors, nothing fine, but just a pair of scissors because you're going to be opening up bags of manure. You're going to be clipping twine to tie things up. For some reason, I cannot tell you how many times I reach for those scissors. So scissors need to go in the bag. Twine, come tomato season, we're going to be tying up those tomatoes. Come fall, we tie up those peas. So everything that's going up a trellis is going to get tied up because we got lots of winds here in Las Vegas. So we need twine. A hand rake. Up here in the right-hand corner, that little fan-looking thing, that's a hand rake. That is an incredible tool to have just to keep your garden cleaned up. We have a lot of debris can get in there, and we want to keep our garden clean. One of the things about keeping a garden clean is that diseases can harbor in the leaves. So we want to keep all that debris out so we aren't going to have any kind of bugs or pests in there. Trellises and obelisks. These are the things that we have our tomatoes and actually anything you want that's a vining plant to grow up on. And those are the kinds of things that we forget to have handy or have ordered when we start a new garden. So that is a very important thing to have. We're gonna I actually will send you some examples of them and some links to them so that you'll have them. Watering can. Again, this is something I had a video about this the other day. I don't know why. I've had more clients that show up with a little teeny, oh, well, if you have a lot of houseplants, Anna, I know you have a lot of houseplants. I bet you your watering can is a little dinky watering can. Yes, of course it is. That's what we have. That's what you need for houseplants. So then when I say to everybody, have a watering can, and they're like, oh, I have one, and it's this little one that holds a half a gallon. That doesn't work for out in the garden. We got to have a nice big one. So I say 2 to 3 gallon watering can is a must. Did you ever get your watering cans, Julie? Julie, I think you had watering. Did you?
I mean, I have one. I have one, but it's one of those dinky little
Yeah.
baby ones. Yeah,
Okay.
for
On the
now.
list. I should have put that as a tool, 2 to 3. I have it on the handout you're going to get. Has the specifics.
Yeah.
2 to 3 gallon. Your hose. Okay. Everybody's hoses here in Vegas are old and terrible unless you've just bought one. Julie's actually gets an A+ for her hose, but you have to have a good hose that's long enough I want a retraction one so that because you're going to be going in and out with it, something that makes it help it twine up, roll up real easily with a good nozzle because that's important. We want to be able to gently water our plants. We don't want to be, because once we plant these seeds, sometimes these seeds are teeny, teeny, tiny. And if you put the hose on too hard, it's going to splay them everywhere and dig them into the soil too deep. And sometimes we just want them gently laying on top. So we want a good hose nozzle. Hose nozzle. We always want a couple of bags of fresh soil handy. Let me tell you, your raised bed is going to compost. It's going to sink down as we go along. So we're always going to be topping it off. So if we do it on a regular basis, it doesn't disrupt things as much as if we're just doing it a couple of times a year. So we do need bags of fresh soil. I recommend Fox Farms soil from Star Nursery. Or if you're really into really, really super organic soil, you can get it on Amazon and find your favorite kind. Different people have different soils that they really like. So, but the Fox Farm is great. It works wonderful. It's organic. It has a lot of nutrients in it. It's almost like compost, so I like it. Oh, you know what? Talk about compost here. That's the next one. You can buy it. The most inexpensive way to buy compost is to go to Star Nursery, bring your own bucket, and they'll fill it up for you, and you can buy it by the bucket full. It's much cheaper. So if you want to do that, you can do that. It's not the best compost. I'm going to tell you right now. We are going to learn to do compost. I want to encourage everybody to do composting because it's so valuable if you do it yourself because it has so much more nutrients in it. If you can imagine, it's like why you're growing your own food. Coming out of, you go to the grocery store, you buy a head of lettuce. I don't know how long it's been from the garden in California or Mexico, wherever it comes from, on a truck in the back of the grocery store to the shelf. Same thing with compost. It's who knows how long it's been sitting. And even though compost, it's ironic, it's been sitting around, that's what it's supposed to do. But really, compost needs to stay moist to keep the nutrients in. And that's why we want to do it ourselves. More on that later. A little dustpan with a brush on it. We want to keep our space tidy, and having a little dust brush on hand is always important. And the last one we're going to talk about is a tool that it's really a cool tool. It's called a Hori Hori. It can be a little dangerous. It looks like a shovel. It's a narrow shovel, but it has little ridges on the edges. So it actually does double duty for a lot of things. I love the little sneaky in the background. But anyway, so let's see here. Oh, do we have the chat going? Oh, good. You guys are going. I love. I'm sorry. I'm just now reading the chat. You guys are hilarious over there. This is hilarious. Yeah. So Julie has an aversion to a lot of things, bugs and things. I mean, I'm saying the word manure. Yes.
You did not give this information to me. I was unaware that it was like
You guys, we can
real
unmute.
manure.
You know what? We can unmute. I actually want this to be a conversation with everybody where there's not a lot of us here. Yeah. Look, you don't have to do any of this. Like we can just stick
No,
with our.
but were you serious when you said manure though? Like if we have to do it, I'll do it.
Yeah, well, that's why Julie is doing a compost pile. She's ahead of the game here. She's getting
Yeah.
one ordered. It's going to happen. This is why you will never have to use manure. But yeah.
Okay. Okay.
You're off
That
the
makes a
hook.
lot more sense.
You're off the hook. But
Okay.
and also, yeah, it's horse manure. That's what it is. But it's been composted, so it's
Oh, okay.
horses just eat grass and hay. That's all it is. It's like the worm castings that we use.
Right.
All right.
But I'm off the hook, so I'm good.
You're off the hook.
Okay, good.
We're
That's
going
why I
to
just
get
want to
you
make
set up
sure.
with your beautiful compost pile, and you're going to have beautiful compost, and your garden is going to love, 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 love it.
Can't wait.
Yay! Okay, so let's see here. All right, now we're going to get into some little technical stuff, but I'll try to make it fun. One of the main things to understand about gardening is to garden with the season. We have to understand the seasons. So a lot of times I'm going to be throwing out the word a cool plant, a warm plant, a hot plant, a cold plant. What the heck does that mean? This is something that is a little technical, and you should probably take a screenshot of this picture and have it on hand because this is what you need to know. When we are talking about cool plants, all our plants thrive at different times of the year. Our cool plants thrive to when it's between 35 and 64 with lows above 25. That's exactly where we are right now. That is exactly where we are in Las Vegas, and it doesn't really get much lower than 25. So we're really lucky because we don't ever have to worry about cold, because cold basically is frozen and nothing's going to thrive. So everybody that's back east, if they're trying to grow lettuces in the cool plants like we're growing right now easily, they're putting it in something called a cold frame, and it's protected. It's in a box with a lid on it that's clear, and so the sun can get through. So they're having to grow things inside boxes, whereas we are just growing things. As a matter of fact, I did a post yesterday about our lettuces. Julia, are your lettuces doing well? Julie,
They're bolting, and I keep on cutting them off, the bolting part,
okay.
and they're still doing, shooting up.
So
So,
you know what? Then I think, okay, so this is a perfect thing. I think you should go ahead and keep maybe pull out a few just to have some space, but start putting some more seeds in and letting fresh ones come through. Because I don't know why yours are bolting. Because I put in, this is interesting. I put in actual, we put in actual plants. We put in
mhm,
lettuce plants. We didn't grow your
mhm,
lettuces from seeds. So
mhm.
that could be affecting it. So
Hmm.
I think we need to do is absolutely pull out a few. If you have, you might even have space for them in your garden right now, but I need you to plant some seeds of them
Mhm.
and keep them watered because they'll come up pretty quickly. And
Yeah.
mine are not bolting at all, and
Interesting.
they're
Oh,
seeds.
okay.
So I think that's the problem. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, what do you think? One seed to replace each plant I take out?
Oh, you know what I would do? Uh, so what I would do, so lettuce seeds are super tiny. And let's just talk about seeds right now while we're talking about the germination of seeds is not 100%. So what you do is you have to just sprinkle them.
Yeah.
And you're going to have quite a few, just like we did with the radishes, and I asked you to thin them. Did you ever thin the radishes much?
No, I think the arugula.
You thin the arugula. Okay.
The arugula, not the radish. The radishes have not like really sprouted that much yet.
Yeah, they're gonna, I think the radishes, I think it's getting too cold now. I think that they're gonna, I don't know why. Yeah, mine aren't either. I think the radishes might not, they always say they're cool weather, but right now I think it's still just too cold for them.
Uh-huh.
But this lettuces should be okay.
Yeah.
But you'd have to wait. Let's see, I wouldn't plant them this week right now because it's in the 30s at night. So I would wait till it gets a little bit warmer to
Mm-hmm.
plant some more.
To add more seeds, to plant the
Yeah,
seeds for the lettuce.
yeah.
Okay. And is the lettuce, that's a cool temperature, cool
Yeah, they
plant?
love it.
Okay. And so they're not gonna, during the warm weather, they're not gonna be
The warm weather,
thriving.
they're not going to be, the warm weather, they'll be okay. It's just once it gets, I don't know the temperature off the top of my head.
Hot?
I just know, yeah, once it starts getting warmer, they just don't like it.
Okay. Okay, gotcha.
That's why, but we've still got plenty of time. It's just January. So you've got all February, March, 2 more months to really get some seeds going. So that should be fun. So anyway, uh, basically what I'm trying to say is that we need to grow the plants that like the weather that they like right now.
Yeah.
Well, what would those be? Oh, so I actually have I wanted to talk about going forward in what we're thinking about for spring. And I want to talk about planting the plate method, which is the plate method is a fun way to imagine in your head how big a plant is going to get. So I have listed here for our warm season going forward when we're planning, because we're going to start planning our warm season because we want to start ordering seeds and we want to start thinking about where to put them in the garden. what different things look like. So a scallion, or like the green onion, or even onions and carrots, arugula, radishes. See, the radishes, we're just going to keep going with radishes. They're just going to keep going for a while. Beans, and then lettuce, and then the heat. So there are heat tolerant lettuces, which I will be telling you about as we get there sooner. So we can have our lettuces for a little bit longer, Julie. So we do have some. So those are smaller. So that's the size of a small plate, like a bread plate. That's as much room as that takes up. We're going to be planting intensely in our gardens. We don't follow the rules. We don't follow the planting rules on the back of the package in as far as spacing goes, because the gardenary method that I've been trained in, and this woman, Nicole Burke, which everybody's getting a book. I'm so excited, The 5 Minute Gardener. She has been doing this for 12 years now, and she is a firm believer that we can stuff a lot into our gardens if we plant closer together. So that's what she recommends. And so that's what we're going to do. And that's why we need the plate method to sort of figure it out, because on the package, it's like put your radishes 6 inches apart, which you could grow a watermelon between that if you wanted to. All right. So the medium size plate, which is like a dinner plate, is our Swiss chard, fennel, eggplants, calendula, tomatoes if trellised, because otherwise they're just going everywhere. Our basil can get pretty darn big. Sweet peppers, chili peppers, shado peppers. Oh, do y'all know what nasturtium is? It is the most beautiful flower. It's an orange flower. It's easy to grow. It is edible, and you can eat the leaves and the flower. I'm going to be, oh, that's another thing I haven't put on there. One of these days, we are going to talk about edible flowers, growing edible flowers. It's so much fun to grow. I love growing them. And I always talk about them in that they don't really have that much flavor. Except my caveat is the nasturtiums, which taste peppery, and they're delicious in your salad. So I love growing them. And they get big and beautiful, and they hang over the side of your garden, and they're wonderful. Chamomile. We've all heard of chamomile tea. Yeah, it's the most precious little flower if you've ever seen it. Looks like a little baby daisy. It's very feminine looking and very petite, but it's a fun thing to grow in our garden. Holy basil is just a brand of basil that's delicious. It's used in, I believe, Thai food a lot. So it's a yummy
Oh,
basil. Got a
is
little
that
bit.
Thai basil?
Have you
I
heard
might
the?
be
Have you
mistaken.
heard of holy basil?
Well, I've heard of Thai basil and we eat that a lot
Yeah.
in
Well,
Maine.
okay. So Thai basil is a different variety, but
Mhm.
holy basil, I can't remember what the. I have to look that up.
Holy, well, so holy basil they use in, so I have a holy basil tea. It's very medicinal.
Oh,
Mhm.
Yeah, and so I'm very excited about that. I just learned about it last year.
okay. So
Mhm.
see, so I went to a sound bath last weekend. And at the end, I was telling, I was telling everybody was talking about themselves. I said, "Oh, I have a garden thing," and they were like, "Oh, we're into herbs. We're into herbalism. Let's have a group." Running out of time. Well, let's upgrade today. I don't know how to do that. Shoot, I had 40 minutes, and I thought we were going okay. Sorry, guys.
That's all right.
I'm just
If
gonna
it
get
does
it.
end,
Oh,
yeah.
and I'm not gonna do it right now. Okay, wait.
No, if it does end, you could always send, set up another one, a second one, a second Zoom.
I have a second one set up.
If this one, well, I'm just saying if this one runs out,
Oh,
like
okay.
it's
Wonder how much time
got
we have.
10
Oh, we have
minutes.
10 minutes left. Okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna be good.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. All right, I'm just gonna keep going. I'm not gonna go on and on about the plant. You guys get the idea of the plant? You get the plant plate thing? And I
Yeah.
have the whole thing, like the different plants. Like for instance, artichokes are huge. They're extra large. Pumpkins, melons. It depends on how big your garden is. If you have 2, 3 beds, you can do these things. If you don't, you can't.
Mhm.
All right, let's present here. Present. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, we're moving on. So if you want to take a screenshot of this real quick, this is a snapshot of our cool, cold And even though we say cold, we can still do them in the cool. We can do all these. And that's it. So right now, if you want quick, like I was just telling Julie what we can do right now, or if you want to do things from seed right now, this is arugula, bok choy, your lettuces, your radishes, mustard greens, spinach, and turnips. And I have to show you guys, this is a vegetable platter I made with purple cauliflower. I made beet hummus. I grew the jicama. I did not grow the celery. We put spinach. Isn't that pretty? And that's watermelon radish because it looks like a watermelon.
Where
That's
did
why
you
I
grow
want to
that
show you
too?
this. It's so much fun to grow things in your garden that you can't find watermelon radish at the grocery store. So there you go. All right, let's talk about, let's see. So here's going to be your action steps. I want you all to gather your tools together. I'm going to send you the worksheet on that. I want you to pick at least like, okay, so not everybody has a raised bed right now, but I would like you to get started somehow. So if you have a pot, doesn't even matter how big it is, just throw some seeds that I put earlier, like radishes or some lettuce seeds. Just throw some seeds in there. I don't care how many. Just throw them in there. If it gets really crowded, we're going to pick them out. It's called thinning. We want to thin the seeds. Once they come up and sprout, you want to give them a little space. You can use your imagination. You know how big a radish is. That's how big of a space you need between the radish seeds. If it's a beet, well, we're not going to do beets, but anyway, that's what you just have to, and this is the thing about your first year of your garden, everybody. This is going to be a learning experience. It's okay. I'm going to give you warnings. I'm going to try to help you along, but it's okay to mess up a little bit. You're going to see if you planted carrots and they're too close together, you're going to have carrots that are like this. They're going to be all entangled in each other. They're still edible. They just don't look pretty. Next time you plant them, you're going to feel more comfortable picking out making them a little bit spaced further apart. So this is going to, and also even with Julie, your first year is a little bit slow because what happens is as our garden grows on and on and on, there's going to be things in our garden like sage, like rosemary, like thyme, like some of the alyssum flowers that just grow over and over like they never die. So your garden stays full and so you don't have to plant as much. But your first year or two, it's a little bit slower going. So these are all little forewarning what to expect. We have 2 weeks till our next one. I would hope everybody will send some pictures. If you plant in the next few days, in 2 weeks, you should have some sprouting going on. So I would hope everybody can get some things sprouting and going, and then we could talk about that. Okay.
Where do you want us to send the pictures to, Jamie?
Oh, just to me, just to jojamie@jojamie.com. I'll be sending that in the follow-up thing.
We could just take some pictures and tag you on Instagram as well, right?
Well, that's a great idea. Sure,
that,
absolutely.
right?
Because I'm gonna screenshot them and we can talk about them.
Yeah.
So we can all share our progress and again, it's like anything in life until you actually do. Like you might go, I didn't know how deep to plant it, or like you do. So
Yeah.
let me just tell you ahead. If you're going to plant some lettuce seeds, they are the tinier the seed. You just sprinkle it on top. Wait, this is very important. You water your soil first. Then you sprinkle on top, and then you can lightly water after that. So it's water first, sprinkle, water. Down the line, we're going to be more advanced types of plantings, and we have bigger seeds. You're going to actually put a hole in dig your finger in and drop a seed in and have it a little bit deeper. For instance, like a tomato or a pea, those kind of broccoli, those kind of plants need a little bit of a deeper plant, but the fast growing plants are very tiny normally. So is there any questions about getting started? And the soil you get, you want to use the Fox Farm good soil to get started on.
Regarding the seeds, does Star Nursery sell seeds? Is that
okay. I'm going to make myself a note.
Fine.
I do have a handout on that. So I do have a handout on seeds. Where did my pen go? I have a handout on seeds.
I'll write it down, Joe Jamie, and I'll
Okay,
send
thank
it.
you. I had a pen. I don't know if I took. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, I like to get seed. Star Nursery has seeds. They have the burpee seeds. They have some organic seeds, which are fine. So it could be that can be easy, but there's also a couple of good seed sources that I like to recommend as well.
Perfect.
And let's see what else. Okay, so that should be easy enough to get started. And then also make sure that it's placed somewhere. It can't be inside. It needs to be outside in a place where it's going to get 6 to 8 hours of sun a day.
The seeds
Lots-
do?
What's that?
The seeds need to be outside right now?
Yeah. Yeah. Like Julie, you just plant yours right in the garden.
Yeah.
And when you say, when you're thinning them out, so do you plant them and then when they start sprouting out, you can see, and then you thin them. Do you just pick them up and move them somewhere else? Or you just spread them out a
So
little
you
bit?
so that's the tricky. Hey, Julie's a good example of this. When you thinned yours, Julie, did they come up or did they die?
Some of them died, some of them are still growing. But what I did was I thinned them from the root. So I took them out from the root.
Yes.
But that's a lot of work. I don't know if is that
It's like, that's the
necessary?
thing. It's sometimes it's not worth it because the seeds are inexpensive. This is the hardest part. I always talk about this, the thinning, and we weren't going to talk about this today, but we should. I mean, you don't need to talk about it until next week. Thinning, we're going to go over it again. I'm actually going to give you some examples of thinning so I can show you how to do it. We're going to be FaceTiming with me. Thinning is something that you can use the little tweezers to do it. It's really the easiest. What I tell Julie to do is you thin them and eat them. They're basically microgreens.
Mhm.
That's cool.
So
Okay.
you don't, so then I haven't done that yet though. So when I do that next time, it's basically like I don't pull it out from the root, right?
You can, sure.
Okay.
You can
Oh,
eat
okay.
anything. Yeah, yeah.
And you don't have to replant it or anything. You can just eat it.
You can just eat it.
Okay.
And that's we're going to do microgreens. We're going to do a class on microgreens, which I think are really fun to do. So that'll be another class down the line. All right. So let's see. We've got, there's another, that was it. So our next class is Wednesday, January 29th at 5. Is 5 o'clock good for everybody? Julie,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
I know it's hard for you, Anna. I'm so
I
sorry.
honestly, for some reason, I thought it was at 12 o'clock. I made
Oh,
it
no.
up in my head. And then luckily I read your email. I was like, oh, shoot.
I thought you know what I was going to
Oh,
text
you didn't do it. It's me. I don't know why I got it in my head that it was 12 o'clock.
No, well, I was
This
going to
is
do it
totally fine.
originally. No, it was going to be originally at 12, and then everybody that signed up ended up needing it to be later.
Oh,
So,
I see. Okay,
and on
so
top of that, I'm going to be out of town next week, and I had to have it later too. So anyway, just like I
Got it.
think it's
Okay.
going to be 5. If we need to change it around, it's again, that's what this is. And
Yeah.
maybe one time it's at noon, maybe one time it's at 5.
figure it out as we go
Yeah, we'll
along.
figure it
Okay.
out.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Great.
so let's
We've got
see.
less than a minute, it says.
Oh, okay, right. Well, this is the great way of wrapping up. Send me, I will, tomorrow you'll get the replay, you'll get the worksheets and all the information. So have a great week. There was, that 2 people just texted me, said they were sorry they couldn't make it, but we're going to have more people next week. So thank you guys. This is great. I'm looking forward to our year together, and have a great